Welcome back, everyone, for another deep dive.
Oh, exciting.
And today we're going to be taking a look at the life and career of Kate Beckinsale.
Oh, fun.
Yeah, so we've got a whole stack of sources here.
Right.
Biographies, career timelines, even some articles that kind of delve into her personality a little bit.
Nice.
And she's a really interesting person to look at.
Yeah.
So I'm excited to kind of dig into this today.
Me too.
Our real mission today is to go beyond just like the typical famous actor bio.
Right.
And really trying to uncover what makes her tick, you know?
Yeah. What are her values? How has she navigated like the pressures of Hollywood?
Exactly. And has she done it on her own terms? Or...
Yeah, and she really has.
Yeah, she's...
What's so captivating about her is that she's really defied categorization in a lot of ways.
Totally.
Like you look at her and you think like, oh, she could have easily gone down a purely academic path.
Right.
But she's carved out this incredible career in Hollywood. And at the same time, she's maintained this really strong sense of self.
Yeah, it's really remarkable.
Yeah.
Well, why don't we start by talking about her early life?
Okay.
So she was born into a family that was already kind of steeped in entertainment.
Right.
Her parents, Richard Beckinsale and Judy Lowe, were both very successful actors.
Yeah.
And then she's also got half-sister Samantha Beckinsale, who's an actress as well.
Uh-huh.
So, I mean, you could say performing is kind of in her blood.
Yeah. Definitely a family affair.
But, you know, her childhood wasn't all sunshine and roses.
Right.
She had a pretty profound loss when she was very young.
Yeah. Her father died suddenly of a heart attack when she was only 5.
5 years old.
Yeah. I mean, that's got to be a lot to deal with at such a young age.
It really is. And I think...
Just imagine the impact.
Absolutely. And you know, it's a real testament to her resilience that she was able to kind of channel that experience into this determination to really... You know, live life to the fullest.
Yeah, you can definitely see that in her work and her choices.
For sure. But it wasn't all doom and gloom growing up. You know, she was surrounded by the arts. She developed this real deep love of literature and writing.
I did not know that.
Yeah.
Interesting.
In fact, she actually won prestigious writing awards as a teenager.
Wow.
Like, talk about a well-rounded individual.
Yeah, that's amazing. And you know, that intellectual curiosity that she developed early on is something that you see throughout her life.
Totally.
It's not just about acting for her. It's about engaging with the world on an intellectual and an emotional level.
Right.
And, you know, that kind of leads us to this pivotal moment in her life, her decision to go to Oxford.
Yeah, I mean, you know, most aspiring actors, they would just beeline for drama school.
Totally.
But Beckinsale chooses to study French and Russian literature at Oxford.
Wow.
Yeah.
That speaks volumes.
It really does. It speaks to her desire to broaden her horizons and cultivate her intellect.
For sure. It's not just about the craft of acting for her. It's about the bigger picture.
And it's also about challenging herself.
Right. Exactly.
Which is something she's done time and time again throughout her life.
Yeah, she never shies away from a challenge.
And then, you know, this is where things get really interesting.
Okay.
She's at Oxford, and she lands this breakthrough role in Kenneth Branagh's adaptation of Much Ado About Nothing.
Oh, wow. What a debut.
I
mean, working with Kenneth Branagh that early in your career.
And Emma Thompson.
Oh, and Denzel Washington was in that as well, right?
Yes.
Oh, my goodness.
It's incredible.
What a cast.
Yeah. And she was still at Oxford at this time.
Oh, wow. So juggling both.
Yeah. And then, you know, she makes another unexpected decision.
Okay, what is it?
She leaves Oxford before graduating to pursue acting full-time.
Wow, that's a big decision.
It's a huge gamble.
Yeah, but clearly one that paid off.
It did, but it makes you think what was going through her mind at that time.
I think it shows her incredible commitment to her craft.
Yeah.
And also this understanding that sometimes you have to take a risk to follow your dreams.
Yeah, take a leap of faith.
Exactly.
So she takes that leap, and her career really starts to take off.
Yeah, what were some of her early roles?
Well, she did a bunch of really acclaimed British period dramas.
Okay.
Like Cold Comfort Farm and the ITV adaptation of Emma.
Those are classics.
Yeah, and these roles really cemented her reputation as this really talented and versatile actress.
Yeah, there's a certain elegance and intelligence that she brings to period pieces.
Absolutely. She embodies the characters from those eras so perfectly.
She really does. But then, you know, she surprised everyone by making this move to Hollywood and embracing a completely different genre.
Yeah, she goes from these corsets and bonnets to leather and fangs in the Underworld franchise.
Underworld, that's when I first saw her.
Me too.
So cool.
And she's just kicking vampire butt and taking names.
Yeah, she really becomes this iconic action heroine.
It's awesome.
What do you think drew her to that kind of role?
I think it shows her willingness to just push boundaries and defy expectations.
Right, she didn't want to be pigeonholed into just one type of role.
Exactly, and she could have easily stayed in that lane of period dramas.
Oh yeah, for sure.
But she chose to explore something new and unexpected.
And she totally rocked it.
She did. She really did.
It's that fearlessness that makes her so compelling to watch.
Absolutely. And, it's not just in her career choices that we see this fearless spirit.
Right.
She's also incredibly outspoken about the pressures of Hollywood on women.
Especially when it comes to aging.
And beauty standards.
Yeah, Hollywood can be brutal.
It can be. And this is where I think her resilience and her self-assuredness really shine through.
Absolutely. She's chosen to age gracefully.
Yeah.
And she's spoken out against this pressure on women to conform to a certain ideal.
It's really a powerful statement.
It is, especially in an industry that's so obsessed with youth.
And artificiality.
Totally. It's refreshing to see someone in the spotlight embrace authenticity and challenge those norms.
It really is. So we've got this incredibly talented actress,
Yes.
an Oxford scholar,
Uh-huh.
and a strong advocate for women.
That's right.
But what about Kate Beckinsale, the person?
Yeah, what's she like behind the scenes?
What's she like when the cameras are off?
Well, one thing that comes up consistently in all the articles we've read is her sense of humor.
Yeah.
She's got this really sharp wit.
It's very dry.
Yeah, and she's really good at self-deprecation.
Yeah, she doesn't take herself too seriously.
Not at all, and I think that's part of what makes her so likable.
I agree. She comes across as very genuine and relatable.
Absolutely, despite being this huge Hollywood star.
Exactly. And she's also been very open about the importance of family in her life.
Yes, especially her daughter Lily Mosheen, who she shares with actor Michael Sheen.
Right. And they seem to have this really great co-parenting relationship.
Yeah, which is awesome to see.
Yeah, it's pretty remarkable. They've managed to maintain this really close and supportive relationship even after their romantic relationship ended.
It really speaks to their maturity and their dedication to creating a stable and loving environment for their daughter.
Exactly. And speaking of Michael Sheen, their relationship is another fascinating aspect of her life.
Oh, yeah, we could talk about that for hours.
But you know what? Why don't we save that for after a quick break?
Sounds good.
We come back, we'll delve into Beckinsale's personal life. Her thoughts on fame and those intriguing did-you-know moments that make her even more captivating.
Can't wait. I love those little fun facts.
Me too. They're always so interesting.
All right, we'll be right back.
Stay tuned.
All right, so we were talking about Michael Sheen.
Yes, their relationship is definitely worth exploring.
They were together for 8 years.
8 years, yeah.
And they've remained so close even after they split.
They really have.
It's really inspiring to see.
And I think it speaks volumes about their maturity and their shared values.
Absolutely. They clearly put their daughter first.
Yeah, and that's something you don't always see in Hollywood.
No, not at all. It's so easy to get caught up in the drama and the ego.
Right, but they seem to have really navigated that with grace.
Totally. They created this really supportive environment for their daughter.
Which is amazing.
And, speaking of defying Hollywood norms, did you know that Kate Beckinsale has an IQ of 152?
Wait, really?
Yeah, it's true.
Wow, I did not know that.
It was tested when she was a child.
That's incredible.
And she's actually talked about her high IQ as being a potential handicap in Hollywood.
Seriously, a handicap?
Yeah, it's kind of fascinating, isn't it?
It really is. What do you think she meant by that?
Well, it makes you wonder about the industry's perception of intelligence.
Right. Is there like a fear of smart women in Hollywood?
Maybe. Or maybe it's just that intelligence isn't always valued in that world.
It's kind of sad if that's true.
Yeah. But in Beckinsale's case, it doesn't seem to have held her back.
No, not at all.
She brings this depth and nuance to her roles that I think comes from her intelligence.
I agree. And you can tell she's always thinking a few steps ahead.
Yeah, she's not just going through the motions.
And speaking of her roles, let's talk about some of her more recent projects.
Okay. What has she been up to?
Well, she's continued to take on diverse roles.
Yeah.
She's done action comedy period pieces.
She really does it all.
She does, and she does it with this incredible sense of humor.
Oh, yeah. She's so witty.
Have you noticed how she uses humor to deflect attention from her personal life?
Oh, yeah, for sure. Like, she'll make a self-deprecating joke and it just disarms everyone.
Exactly. It's like a defense mechanism.
Maybe, but it's also really charming.
Totally. She's not afraid to poke fun at herself.
And that makes her seem so relatable.
Right. And it's another way she maintains control of her narrative.
Speaking of control, let's talk about her decision to stay off social media for so long.
Yeah, that's pretty unusual for a celebrity these days.
It is, especially in this day and age.
What do you think about that choice?
I think it shows that she's very deliberate about how she presents herself to the world.
Right, she's not going to get sucked into the social media vortex.
Exactly. She values her privacy, and she understands how social media can be used to manipulate perceptions.
And yet, she eventually joined Instagram.
She did, but even there, it's a very curated presence.
It is.
Yeah.
She shares glimpses into her life, but always on her own terms.
It's like she's using the platform as a tool to connect with her fans.
But she's not letting it control her.
Exactly. And you know what else is interesting? Despite her successful Hollywood career and her high profile, she's maintained a relatively low-key personal life.
Yeah, she's not a tabloid fixture.
No, she values her privacy, and she doesn't seem interested in courting that kind of attention.
It's refreshing.
It is. She's been in some high-profile relationships, of course.
Right, like with Michael Sheen and Len Wiseman.
But she's never been one to air her dirty laundry in public.
Exactly. She keeps her private life private.
Which is so rare in today's celebrity culture.
So we've talked about her career, her intelligence, her humor, her family life.
Yeah, we've covered a lot of ground.
What do you think is the biggest takeaway from all this?
That's a good question.
What makes Kate Beckinsale stand out from the crowd?
I think it's her authenticity and her refusal to compromise her values.
I agree. She's forged her own path, and she's done it with grace and intelligence.
And a healthy dose of humor.
Definitely. And she seems so comfortable in her own skin.
Which is really inspiring.
It is. She's a reminder that you don't have to fit into a mold to achieve success.
You can be smart, funny, beautiful, and successful on your own terms.
Exactly. And that's a message that resonates far beyond Hollywood.
It applies to all of us.
Absolutely. So as we wrap up this deep dive, I want to leave our listeners with one final thought.
Okay.
What can we learn from Kate Beckinsale's approach to life?
How can we apply her wisdom to our own journeys?
That's a great question.
Maybe it's about embracing our complexity.
Yeah, and defying expectations.
And never losing sight of what truly matters to us.
And maybe it's about remembering that it's okay to be a little bit different.
A little bit quirky.
And a whole lot of ourselves.
Well said. I think Kate Beckinsale would approve.
You know, it's really impressive how she's managed to kind of stay true to herself.
In an industry that's all about image.
Exactly.
It's what makes her so fascinating to me.
Yeah, she really doesn't apologize for who she is. Whether it's her intelligence, her humor, her love of like classic literature.
You know, it's funny. We were talking about her high IQ earlier and how she said it could be a handicap.
Right.
But it seems like it's actually been a huge asset in her career.
I think so too.
She brings such a depth of understanding to her roles.
Yeah.
You can tell she's really thinking about the characters she's playing.
And she's not afraid to challenge herself intellectually.
Right. She's not just phoning it in.
It's clear that she wants to use her talent to tell meaningful stories.
And she does it with such wit and charm.
She really does. It's like she's always winking at the audience.
Letting us in on the joke.
Exactly. Yeah. And I think that's a big part of what makes her so relatable.
Even though she's living this very glamorous life.
Yeah, she doesn't take herself too seriously.
It's refreshing.
And she's not afraid to show her flaws.
In fact, she embraces them.
Yeah, she's talked openly about her struggles with anxiety.
No, really.
Yeah, and how she can be a bit messy.
It's that kind of vulnerability that makes her so human.
I agree. It reminds us that even those who seem to have it all still face challenges and doubts.
Absolutely. And, you know, we can't talk about Kate Beckinsale without addressing the double standard that women face in Hollywood.
Right. The pressure to stay young and conform to these crazy beauty standards.
It's ridiculous.
It is. And Beckinsale has been very outspoken about that.
And for her.
She's refused to play that game.
Choosing to age gracefully instead.
Yeah. And speak out against those pressures.
Which is so important, especially for younger women.
Yeah. Who are bombarded with these images of like unattainable perfection.
It's like she's saying it's okay to get older. It's okay to have wrinkles.
Real beauty comes from within.
I think that's a message we all need to hear.
Absolutely. She's a role model for women of all ages.
Showing us that we can be strong and successful and beautiful on our own terms.
So as we wrap up this deep dive into the life and career of Kate Beckinsale, I'm curious what stood out to you the most.
You know, for me, it's her commitment to authenticity.
She's never tried to be someone she's not.
Never apologize for who she is.
Exactly. And I think that's a powerful message for all of us.
It really is.
It's about embracing who we are, flaws and all.
And pursuing our passions.
With everything we've got.
It's about defining success on our own terms.
And not letting anyone else dictate our narrative.
Well said.
So the next time you're feeling pressured to conform or to dim your light.
Yeah.
Remember Kate Beckinsale.
She's a great example of what's possible.
When you stay true to yourself.
And who knows, maybe you'll even be inspired to pick up a classic novel or two.
That's right. A little intellectual stimulation never hurt anyone.
Never.
And you might just discover your own inner Kate Beckinsale waiting to be unleashed.
I love that.
All right, that's it for our deep dive on Kate Beckinsale.
Thanks for listening, everyone.
Thanks for listening, everyone.